Welcome back to my vlog channel. Today is another episode of A Day in the Life of an EA shill. That's right. I actually feel excited about a Sims 4 pack for once. I don't feel any weirdness about it, and I'm going to discuss some of the negativity about the pack, but I'm actually just feeling positive for once. And yes, I'm having a bad hair day. My bedroom is messy. You know, when it's just one of those days where like everything is just screwed up and like when you have a bad hair day, everything else is bad. That's true. To start off with the pessimism, okay, when I first saw this trailer, I was a bit like, where are the hobbies? But in general, I was really excited. I think the most important thing when looking at this pack is thinking this is not a hobbies pack, because EA have been incredibly misleading, and this is where I will be a Karen Satch for just a couple of minutes. They did a terrible mistake calling this a Businesses and Hobbies pack. It's an absolutely absurd name. It's very long and weird. It's absolutely terrible, by the way, as a YouTuber, because it's too bloody long to fit on a YouTube video title. They definitely should have called it the Sims 4 Home Business Expansion Pack. That would have been much more understandable. It would have been much more accurate to what the pack actually is. Now, if we ignore that, if we ignore the terrible misnaming and understand that this is not a hobbies pack, this is a home business pack, I do think it's offering something that's quite new. And we did see that in the more recent gameplay trailer, which is different to the original reveal trailer. Now, I actually want to talk about registering a small business itself, and I want to talk about the different kind of activities you can have. So it looks like you can have a maximum of 5 activities for your home business, and I think it's going to make it really open to a lot of options and actually having your Sims leave their houses, because let's be honest, Sims 4 Sims are on house arrest. Some of these activities I think are a bit stupid, like all things grilled cheese, like shut up. Bathe and shower, like what does that even mean? But we do have things like play guitar, play piano, play violin. So it's like, do you remember when Growing Together released and they released this like recreation center, which was basically just a base game build full of base game activities, but they labeled it as a brand new lot name, but it wasn't really anything new. It was just kind of stupid. Well, you can basically recreate a recreation center with this, I'm assuming, but better, because you could add activities like playing instruments or maybe playing games or something. You can see at the bottom here it says watch live entertainment, so you could have a start. By the way, these activities, in addition to these activities, you can also make staff activities. So these are tasks that employees do. So I'm assuming there's going to be an employee task of playing music. You could basically make your own mini concert hall, or you could basically add some kind of way where Sims can sit and watch music, but at the same time it's like a coffee shop, so you could sell coffee, you know, like those like hipster, you know, like those cringe hipster coffee shops where they have like live music. That's something that you could do potentially. We've got fix objects. I think it's a kind of thing where I'm like, we're gonna have to wait and see what it's actually like when the pack comes out, because this says fix objects. Okay, does that mean that I can run a repair shop, or does it mean that the customers will fix their own objects where I am? That's where I'm a little bit like, I don't really understand what's going on here. Do you know what I mean? Same with try on outfits. I don't think this pack is coming with a changing room, so how are they actually going to be trying on outfits? I don't quite understand, but I like the idea of making an internet cafe with browser web. Stay near household Sims, I don't quite understand, and I don't think that, I reckon that one's going to be bugged, to be honest. I don't really know what that means or how you would implement it, but it just feels like there's actually a lot of cool ideas. And they did show in this gameplay trailer cross-pack activities. Like just in a moment they will show you the Sims 4 cats and dogs making a cat cafe with this whole brand new pack concept, and I do think it's a bit shitty that they did this in the trailer. I personally think they should have shown more examples of how you can make home businesses with this pack and the base game alone. I don't think they should have shown like other packs in this trailer. I just feel like they should have shown fun, inventive ideas that you could do only using this pack, because I don't feel like they've shown this pack to its full potential, because you can already make a cat cafe. If you have get together, you can make a normal cafe lot, but with like cats allowed. So I don't know how this will be different, to be honest. Okay, so this is is like a music stand. You can see on the left there's a tattoo station. So it's like Sims can play music, but you can also sell artwork and do tattoos at the exact same time. I also feel like the business perk system looks a little bit more fun than the get to work one. And a lot of people saying this is a get to work refresh. I don't think it's quite a get to work refresh, just because get to work is more about the live careers. Whereas this focuses solely on having a home business. And I do think it expands on it in ways which get to work didn't. I even think it could be a lot better than The Sims 2 open for business in many ways because of the different activities and gameplay aspects you can do. There's even a brand new activity, business activity, which is going to be called sleeping. And a lot of people have said, are you going to be able to make hotels with this? I don't think you're going to be able to make hotels being realistic with sleeping being an activity. I do definitely think maybe you could make some kind of hostel setup. So if you go into one of the more vacationy worlds, like Solani, for example, maybe you could make a hostel, because in hostels, people all share the same room. So it's not like a hotel where you're going to have to designate everyone their own separate room. You could probably do a hostel setup where everyone has their own, well, they don't have their own. They have just like 1 or 2 rooms with loads of bunk beds in them to create a hostel. I definitely think that could work, but then are Sims just going to sleep in the daytime if you keep it open day and night? Do you know what I mean? But I do think there's a lot of activities. I've already wrote a list of things that I want to do for the review of this pack when I do it. Normally when I do Sims 4 pack reviews, I actually stay up all night, like I do an all-nighter, and I try and get through an in-game year to play through a pack. But for this one, I think my review might actually be out later than it normally is, because I feel like there's a lot for me to go over. And something in particular I am interested to see is how it's going to work from the customer perspective, because sure, it's nice running and owning your own business in the game, but actually being able to visit a business with all these different activities, I think could make for more interesting community lots. If you look at manage employees, there is an employee task called Care for Little Ones, suggesting that you may be able to create a daycare in this, which is quite exciting. So I'm thinking you could create some kind of, I don't know, community library or something, or you can make, I don't know, a swimming pool, like maybe a community pool where an activity is to swim, but then there's an employee task to care for little ones, and you do like a kids area, like playground area, so somebody can babysit the kids. You know, in some businesses and places, they all have like a creche or a nursery where you can drop your kids off whilst the adults go and do whatever they want to do. Maybe you could do something like that. I don't think a whole daycare system would work very well, but I think as like a side thing, it just sounds really good to me. As I said, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. This is still EA, and they are still incredibly lazy when it comes to depth of Sims 4 packs. So it's very obvious, for example, that there's no gameplay for kids or anything in this pack. There aren't any really brand new gameplay objects, like, okay, there's pottery, whatever, but it's nothing that substantial. EA are still incredibly stingy with Sims 4 packs for no reason. We also don't know the extent of cross-pack activities with this pack, because when we look at Lovestruck, for example, they only included 3 cross-pack dating activities, 2 of which were related to seasons, and 1 of which was just petting animals if you own cats and dogs, which is a bit weird. If you think of all of the packs, like, you know, bowling as a fun day activity, watching a movie, I don't know, loads of stuff. There's so many cross-pack activity ideas that they didn't implement because obviously they were too lazy. That is the only excuse. I'm not hearing anything else. So are they going to be lazy with this one? I'm really praying not. I'm hoping that the cross-pack activities are going to be substantial. I'm also not convinced from a bugs and glitches perspective, because did you know loads of people are facing severe save file corruption as a result of the Sims 4 for rent, and the way it's like a residential rental, like 2 lots in one, and they're causing major save file issues for a lot of people. And this pack is also about having 2 lots in one, so it could go to absolute shit. The way lots have been coded in the Sims 4 is definitely a huge part of its downfall. The reason why we will never ever have open neighborhoods, let alone an open world, and the reason why these multi-purpose lots just don't work very well. So I'm not convinced it won't be buggy, and it's one of those things where it takes a really long time, I think, for these things to crop up. And even though it may not be broken on release, it could break in the future, just like For Rent has been breaking in the future. Also, again, going back to the name, like, there are a ton of comments on this video alone saying, why was this not called Home Business, or saying that the pack is catfishing with the name, these kinds of comments. That is another one of my issues with the pack. I think EA needs to change the pack name now, because clearly the consumers are not happy. Like, just change it, it's not too late. And I am concerned that EA is getting any kind of consumer feedback about this pack before it's released too, because, you know, none of the EA employees calling themselves sim gurus are active on Twitter any now, because they got a lot of criticism for the pack releases, because even though maybe they were not officially representative of EA in their tweets or whatever, unofficially and from the perspective of the customers, they are. So people naturally use them as a way to express their complaints about the game, and because the Sims community can be toxic, they often express their complaints in a way that's quite threatening to individuals. And I think the Sims team couldn't handle having the influencer status of calling themselves sim gurus, so they're all taken off now, and seeming that literally none of them are active anymore. My only assumption is they've made a company-wide policy to just get them all off it now. That's my only assumption. But I do hope it isn't feeding into the toxic positivity issue of The Sims 4, because it definitely has one. It's so apparent that they take any kind of complaints or criticism about their game as personal attacks, and that's not what it is. If I'm saying this Sims 4 pack is shite, I'm not attacking personally the employee who was so passionate and worked so hard on it. I am complaining as a customer to a company that I've bought a product from. And as a company, it's your responsibility to look at customer feedback and understand what it is you're actually doing wrong. So tying that in, I can't be fully confident that this pack is going to be working. I can't be confident that they've done it in a way that gamers will appreciate. But at the very least, I think it could be my favorite pack for The Sims 4. And I said that for Life and Death. When The Sims 4 Life and Death, the previous expansion pack, came out, I said, this is probably going to end up being like my favorite expansion pack, so I think it looks really good and I'm actually excited for once. And then it released and I was like, this is actually one of my favorite packs for The Sims 4. It's my favorite Sims 4 expansion pack. It's actually really in depth and really good and really fun. So I am getting the impression that they are trying just a little bit harder with the quality of Sims 4 packs. They're still definitely very lazy, unfortunately. And I'm not saying individual members of the Sims team didn't try their utmost, hardest, most passionate, because I'm an evil, horrible person. No, this is a consumer complaint about EA, the company. I felt like EA, the company as a whole, is lazy and needs to do a better job, whether that be having more realistic time constraints, more realistic budgets, better working conditions, better work culture, better understanding of customer expectations. I don't know, because I don't work there, but I definitely think something is maybe changing a tiny bit, just a little bit, in order to make the packs better quality. No Sims 4 pack will ever truly be amazing because it's limited by The Sims 4. In fact, I said in my review of The Sims 4 Life and Death, it's a good Sims 4 pack to Sims 4 standards. In fact, it's an excellent Sims 4 pack to Sims 4 standards, but it's an atrocious pack to The Sims standards as a whole. And it's probably going to be the same, I think, with the Sims 4 Home Business expansion pack. I think it's going to be excellent potentially to The Sims 4 standards, but bad to The Sims standard as a whole. But seeming all we've got now is The Sims 4 until the end of time, and nobody's going to stop buying packs, so they will never stop making them and move on to The Sims 5. It's pretty much all that we've got right now, and call me a victim of Stockholm Syndrome. I think it might make me start enjoying The Sims 4 a little bit more again. I'm certainly excited to do my Let's Play of this pack when it comes out. Every time a brand new major pack releases, I do a Let's Play which ties into my huge Let's Play series, which has got a ton of lore and it's very in depth. If you haven't seen my Let's Play series, it starts all the way from The Sims 4 Horse Ranch leading up to The Sims 4 Life and Death, and I've made a playlist of every single episode in chronological order, so make sure you check that one out if you want to check it out. Otherwise, you guys let me know what you think about The Sims 4 Home Business. I will see you in the next video.